Have you ever noticed your muscles feeling weaker than they used to, or found yourself stumbling a little more often? Maybe sleep doesn't come as easily, or your memory isn't as sharp as it once was. It's a quiet frustration many of us face as the years add up, a subtle shift that can leave us feeling like we're slowly being left behind. But what if I told you that these changes aren't just the inevitable signs of aging? What if the real reason behind muscle weakness or memory lapses isn't simply getting older, but something much more manageable? Most of us think that slowing down is just part of getting old, and that there's little we can do about it. Yet, the truth is often quite different, and a lot more hopeful. Small changes can make a big difference in how we feel, move, and think every day. In this video, I'll share what science reveals about why these common struggles happen and, more importantly, what simple habits can help you reclaim your strength and confidence. Stay with me until the end. I promise to share the most powerful daily habit that could transform your life. If you are not subscribed, subscribe and activate the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. If you like the topic of this video, please comment 1. If you don't, please comment 0 to let me know how I can improve and make better videos for you. Now, let's begin. It often creeps in quietly, almost unnoticed at first, a sense of being left on the edges of conversations, of holidays that grow quieter, of routines that once bustled with meaning now replaced by long afternoons and empty spaces. For so many older Americans, this feeling isn't always easy to name. It might come as loneliness, a sharp pang as you watch your children hurry through busy lives, or the ache of silence in a home that once echoed with laughter. Sometimes, it's that unsettling sense of being invisible, as if decades of work, love, and sacrifice have faded into the background of everyone else's story. Mary knows that feeling all too well. At 72, she spent most of her adult life as a teacher in a small town in Ohio. Her days were once filled with the energy of children, the respect of colleagues, and the busy joy of raising a family. She was the one people turned to for advice, the rock in her neighborhood, and a source of warmth and wisdom for her children. But lately, she finds herself standing at the window in the afternoons, watching the world move briskly outside while she remains still, her presence somehow softer, less necessary than before. It's a familiar story for many seniors across America. Society celebrates youth, speed, and innovation. The wisdom and contributions of older generations are often overlooked. Sometimes, even in our own families, we might feel as though our voices have become quieter, our opinions gently brushed aside by well-meaning but distracted children and grandchildren. Mary sometimes wonders if she has somehow become invisible, if she has shifted from the center of her family's universe to a side character in their busy lives. But here's the question. Is this quiet retreat from the spotlight truly an inevitable part of growing older? Or is there something deeper at play? Something we can change? Must we accept that as we age, our value, influence, and confidence shrink, or could there be another way to see our worth? For generations, the common belief has been that loneliness and loss of self-esteem are simply natural consequences of aging. The idea goes that as our bodies slow down and our roles shift, perhaps from parent to grandparent, worker to retiree, community leader to observer, it's just normal to feel less important. But what if that assumption isn't entirely true? What if much of what we chalk up to old age is the result of social patterns and habits that can be shifted even late in life? Research from universities like Harvard and Stanford has begun to paint a new picture of aging, one that challenges those old beliefs. Studies show that while it's common for older adults to feel more isolated, the root cause isn't simply their age, but rather the loss of meaningful connection and purpose. When seniors engage with others, contribute to their communities, and find ways to stay active, physically, mentally, and socially, their self-worth and overall well-being dramatically improve. Seniors who remain socially connected are not only happier, but also live longer, healthier lives. Scientists now understand that the human brain and spirit remain remarkably resilient well into our 70s, 80s, and beyond. It's not that older people have less to give, but that society too often stops asking. This is a critical shift. The invisibility many seniors experience is not a flaw of age, but a signal, a reminder that we all need connection, contribution, and recognition to thrive. So what can you do if you find yourself, like Mary, feeling sidelined or less valued than you once were? The answer doesn't require grand gestures or impossible feats. Some of the most effective ways to reclaim your sense of worth are simple, gentle steps you can take today. First, recognize the power of routine and self-appreciation. Each morning, try starting your day by writing down one thing you are proud of. Maybe a memory from your teaching days, a recipe you perfected, or simply the courage it takes to greet a new day. These small acts of self-acknowledgement build up over time, reminding you of your journey and value. Next, reach out, even when it feels awkward or unnecessary. Consider joining a book club at your local library, attending a fitness class designed for seniors, or volunteering a few hours a week at a community center. The act of connecting, sharing, and simply being present with others creates a ripple effect that not only lifts your spirits but also reminds others of the wisdom and kindness you have to offer. Physical movement is another quiet but powerful ally. Whether it's a daily walk in the neighborhood, gentle stretching, or tending to a garden, staying active helps keep both body and mind engaged. Science shows that even moderate movement can boost your mood, reduce anxiety, and help you sleep better, a recipe for stronger confidence and greater self-worth. And don't be afraid to speak up for yourself. If you feel overlooked, share your thoughts and feelings with your family. Let them know you want to be included, that your experiences and opinions matter. Sometimes, our loved ones simply don't realize how much we crave connection. A gentle reminder can go a long way. Let's return to Mary for a moment. 4 months, she wrestled with the heaviness of feeling invisible. Then, encouraged by a neighbor, she joined a senior storytelling group at her community center. At first, she doubted whether her stories would be of interest to anyone. But as she shared her experiences of teaching, raising children, surviving hardship, she found not only eager listeners but a new circle of friends who valued her insights. Week by week, her sense of purpose returned. She started helping to organize events, even mentoring other seniors who felt adrift. Mary's world grew bigger again, and her family began to notice a change. She laughed more, called more often, and radiated a quiet confidence that reminded everyone of the woman she'd always been. Mary's journey isn't unique, and it's never too late to begin. The path to reclaiming your sense of worth doesn't have to be lonely or complicated. It starts with believing that you still matter, with taking small steps to engage, connect, and care for yourself. So if you're watching this and recognizing a bit of your own story in Mary's, let this be your invitation. You are not invisible. Your wisdom, laughter, and kindness are still needed, perhaps now more than ever. Each day is a new opportunity to remind yourself, and those around you, that your worth shines bright at every age. You have spent a lifetime building, giving, and caring. Now is the time to nurture yourself with the same compassion and attention. Reach out, try something new, or simply give yourself the gift of recognition. Because your story isn't over, and the world is better when you're in it, seen, valued, and confident. There's a moment that sneaks up on almost everyone, though we rarely speak of it. It might come on a quiet afternoon, when you look in the mirror and notice how your face has changed, or when you catch yourself feeling hesitant to share an opinion at a family gathering. Sometimes, it's the way others move around you, calling you sweetie in the supermarket, or speaking just a little louder, a little slower, as if you've become somehow less capable with each passing year. Most of us, especially those of us who have crossed that 65-year milestone, know what it's like to feel subtly sidelined. Maybe it's just small things, fewer invitations, the way grandchildren's lives race ahead while yours slows down, or those familiar comments. Well, that's just how it is when you get older. It's easy to accept these things as normal, to think, this is simply part of growing old. I've had my turn in the spotlight, and now it's time to step aside. Our culture quietly reinforces this idea, with its billboards and movies celebrating youth, its focus on speed and novelty. Many of us have come to believe that as we age, our worth naturally fades, our confidence inevitably shrinks, and the world will, sooner or later, pass us by. We may even start to tell ourselves, maybe I don't matter as much as I used to. But let's pause for a moment and challenge that assumption. Is age the only measure of a person's worth? Does growing older truly mean we lose our confidence, our influence, or our right to be respected and heard? Or is it possible that these ideas are simply old stories, ones we've been told and have told ourselves without ever questioning if they are true? Here's something science and human experience both suggest. Your value does not come with an expiration date. Studies show that people in their later decades possess something impossible to manufacture: wisdom, empathy, resilience, and the ability to see life from a wider, more compassionate perspective. Neuroscientists have found that the aging brain, while it changes, can remain surprisingly adaptive. Emotional intelligence, our ability to understand and respond to the feelings of others, often grows with age, making seniors uniquely gifted at listening, guiding, and connecting. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 1 below to let me know that you are still here with me. Think about the tapestry of your own life. Each memory, every struggle, and triumph has added layers to who you are. That doesn't vanish when you retire, or when your children grow up, or when birthdays begin to pile up more quickly. If anything, it makes you more valuable to those around you. The trouble is, the world sometimes forgets to notice. And, even more importantly, we sometimes forget to remind ourselves. So, what can you do to rediscover and nurture your sense of worth, especially when the world isn't always quick to affirm it? The answer isn't in trying to turn back the clock or pretending to be someone you're not. Instead, it's in leaning into the very experiences and qualities that have grown richer with time. It's about honoring your own story and finding new ways to let it shine. One gentle, practical step is to look for opportunities to share your wisdom, even in small, everyday ways. You might offer advice to a neighbor struggling with a garden, or share a family recipe with a grandchild. You could volunteer at the local library or school, where your perspective is not only helpful but often cherished. Sometimes, just being present, listening to someone, showing interest in their life, reminds both you and them of the quiet strength you still possess. Consider taking a little time each week for self-reflection. Journaling, for instance, can be a powerful tool. Write down the moments when you felt proud, needed, or simply content. What skills do you have that others could benefit from? What lessons would you want to pass on? Over time, these pages become a living testament to your value, a reminder, in your own words, that your worth hasn't faded, it's only changed its form. Physical and mental engagement also play a role. Activities that stretch your mind, like learning a new game, tackling a puzzle, or reading about a new topic, help maintain your confidence. Group activities, whether it's a community walking club or a virtual book group, provide fresh opportunities for connection and contribution. Let me share with you the story of Robert, a retired engineer from Illinois. After his wife passed away, Robert found himself drifting. He spent days alone, convinced that his usefulness had ended with his career. One morning, his neighbor, a young mother, knocked on his door, asking for help repairing her leaky faucet. Robert hesitated. He wasn't sure if he still had it, but he gave it a try. Not only did he fix the faucet, but he also found himself explaining the process to her son, who watched with wide eyes. Word spread in the neighborhood, and soon Robert was the go-to for odd jobs, advice, and friendly chats. The change was subtle but powerful. With each problem solved and each thank you received, Robert's confidence returned. He realized his age wasn't a limit, but a badge of all he could offer. In helping others, he rediscovered his worth. It's stories like Robert's, so ordinary, yet so transformative, that remind us what's possible. It's easy to let others' assumptions, and our doubts, dictate how we see ourselves, but you can choose a different path. You can nurture your value by connecting, giving, and showing up as yourself, wrinkles and all. So, if you ever find yourself wondering whether you still matter, remember this. Age may change your body, your schedule, or your address, but it does not erase your worth. It may take a little courage to step forward, to say yes when someone asks for help, or even to offer your experience without being asked. But with every act, you reclaim a piece of the confidence that is, and always has been, yours. Let the world see you, and let yourself be seen. Your value hasn't faded. It has simply grown deeper, waiting for you, and for others, to recognize it. This chapter of life can be every bit as meaningful as the ones that came before. All it takes is the willingness to believe it and to share your light with those around you. It's no wonder that so many older Americans occasionally find themselves wrestling with feelings of lost value or diminished purpose. Life, after all, is filled with transitions. In earlier years, many of us played vital roles within our families and communities. Raising children, building careers, nurturing relationships, and holding traditions together. Our calendars were packed with responsibilities, and our identities were tied closely to our roles as parents, professionals, caregivers, or community leaders. But as the seasons turn, roles naturally shift. Children grow up and build lives of their own, leaving quiet spaces where chaos and laughter once reigned. Retirement, something once longed for, can bring a surprising emptiness as the daily structure of work falls away. Even friendships may fade as neighbors move, spouses pass, or social circles shrink. In these moments, it's all too easy to wonder, who am I now? What is my place in this new chapter of life? These are not trivial questions. Psychologists tell us that a strong sense of purpose and identity are as important to our well-being as the food we eat or the air we breathe. When those anchors loosen, it's perfectly natural to experience moments of sadness or self-doubt. Many seniors, perhaps even you, have felt that ache of being needed less, or the fear of becoming a burden to loved ones. One of the most significant challenges is social isolation. For older adults, even small barriers, mobility issues, limited transportation, or a lack of nearby friends, can quickly lead to loneliness. According to the U.S. Surgeon General, nearly 1 in 4 Americans aged 65 and older is considered socially isolated. That's not just a fleeting feeling. It's a condition that can impact both mind and body. Social isolation has been linked to higher rates of depression, anxiety, and even cognitive decline. It's as real and serious as any physical health problem, but often goes unseen and unspoken. And yet, despite these very real obstacles, research consistently shows that seniors have an incredible capacity to adapt, contribute, and continue growing, sometimes in remarkable ways. The concept of lifelong learning is more than a buzzword. It's a proven path to resilience and joy. Scientists at institutions like the National Institutes of Health and Harvard Medical School have found that engaging the mind through hobbies, volunteering, or learning new skills can spark neural growth and even help delay the onset of memory problems. One study published in the journal Psychological Science revealed that older adults who set goals and participated in group activities reported higher life satisfaction, better memory, and even improved physical health. These findings aren't just numbers, they're hope. They're proof that no matter how old we are, our brains and spirits remain responsive to challenge, purpose, and connection. But what about self-esteem and confidence? Those deep inner resources that seem so vulnerable to the tides of change. Here, too, science is clear. Maintaining self-respect, staying engaged, and believing in your ability to contribute can have powerful effects on health and longevity. Researchers have found that seniors with high self-esteem are less likely to suffer from depression, experience lower rates of chronic illness, and even live longer lives. Confidence isn't just a feeling. It's medicine for body and soul. This brings us to an important truth about American culture. In this country, respect for elders has always been woven into the fabric of our communities. Think of the cherished place grandparents hold at Thanksgiving tables, or the traditions passed down from one generation to the next. Yet, it's equally true that modern life, with its whirlwind pace and endless demands, can sometimes blur those old values. Busy schedules, digital distractions, and the constant celebration of youth can unintentionally leave older voices unheard. You might have noticed it yourself, a conversation where your experience is brushed aside, or a moment when your wisdom is overshadowed by the rush of the younger crowd. But if you look closer, you'll also find countless Americans, neighbors, friends, volunteers, working to restore that sense of respect, connection, and purpose. Senior centers and churches host book clubs and lunch gatherings. Local schools invite retired professionals to mentor the next generation. In many towns, you'll see grandparents as the backbone of family support, quietly offering rides, hugs, and the kind of advice you can't find in a textbook. And it isn't just what you do for others. It's what you do for yourself that matters, too. Small acts of self-care, taking a daily walk, keeping up with a favorite hobby, or making the effort to reach out for a chat, can have an enormous impact. The truth is, your value isn't measured by how busy you are or how many people you take care of. It's measured by your presence, your wisdom, and your willingness to keep growing and connecting, even in new ways. Let's return to the heart of the matter. You are still needed. You still have gifts to share, lessons to teach, and stories worth telling. Your experience, shaped by decades of living, holds a power that no amount of youth can replace. If you've ever doubted it, know that science, history, and the warmth of your memories all point in the same direction. Your worth doesn't fade, it evolves. So, what might this mean for you today? It could be as simple as picking up the phone and calling an old friend or signing up for a class at your local community center. Maybe it's volunteering to read at a nearby school, or teaching your grandchild the art of making your famous Sunday pancakes. Whatever it looks like, every act of engagement, no matter how small, helps to strengthen your sense of self and renews the bond between you and the world around you. As you move through this chapter of life, hold on to this truth. Your mind can keep learning. Your heart can keep loving. Your spirit can keep inspiring. You are not defined by the roles you once played, but by the light you continue to shine. American life may move fast, but it is built on the strong, steady foundation of those who came before. That foundation is you. Take pride in your journey. Stay curious. Reach out. Your presence is a blessing, and your story is still being written. And as science and society both agree, the best chapters may still be ahead, filled with growth, connection, and a renewed sense of self-worth. Sometimes, in the face of big feelings, like loneliness or a wavering sense of purpose, the smallest daily actions become the most powerful tools. You don't need grand gestures or a brand new life plan to reclaim your sense of self-worth and confidence. Instead, it's the gentle, practical things you can do quietly, every day, that slowly build you up from the inside out. It starts with recognizing and appreciating yourself. That may sound simple, but for many of us, it's become an unfamiliar habit. Too often, our inner voice is quick to point out what we can't do anymore or what's changed, rather than celebrating the gifts that remain. Try this. Each morning, before the day gets busy, take a moment to write in a journal or simply sit with your thoughts. Name one thing, just one, that you value about yourself. Maybe it's your kindness, your patience, or a memory of something you handled well in the past. Some days, you'll recall something big, like the years you spent working hard for your family. Other days, it might be as small as making a neighbor smile. Every acknowledgement matters. And if writing isn't your style, say something kind to yourself in the mirror. Remind yourself that you are worthy, still growing, and still needed. Staying connected is another quiet but essential act. Human beings are social by nature, and the heart doesn't outgrow its need for community just because the calendar pages turn. This doesn't mean you have to fill your schedule with endless activities or force yourself into situations that make you uncomfortable. Sometimes, it's enough to join a book club at the local library or drop by a neighborhood potluck. If you enjoy faith-based gatherings, check out what your local church or synagogue offers for seniors. Many have social hours, craft days, or group outings. Even meeting a friend for coffee or calling an old neighbor can make a world of difference. The important thing is to keep those bridges open, reminding yourself and others that you belong and have a place in the world. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 2 below to let me know that you are still here with me. Setting small, achievable goals can also give your days a renewed sense of direction. This isn't about climbing mountains or running marathons, unless, of course, that's your dream. Instead, start with something gentle. Maybe you'd like to learn how to use a new smartphone app to video chat with family, or perhaps there's a recipe you've always wanted to try. Local senior centers often offer workshops on everything from painting to basic computer skills. Gentle exercise, like walking in the park or joining a low-impact yoga class, not only boosts your health but also provides a sense of accomplishment. Volunteer work, whether it's helping organize a community event, reading to children at the library, or even offering a listening ear to someone else, can remind you of the skills, compassion, and wisdom you have to give. Every goal you set and achieve, no matter how small, builds confidence for the next. One of the most powerful yet overlooked ways to reclaim your self-worth is to share your story and experiences. The lessons you've learned, the hardships you've survived, the jokes and traditions you carry. These are treasures that the world still needs. If you have grandchildren, tell them about your first job or how your family celebrated holidays years ago. Local schools or libraries sometimes invite seniors to speak about their careers or family histories. Even within your circle of friends, sharing your journey can spark connection and remind you, and others, that you have a unique and valuable perspective. Helping someone else, whether through advice, encouragement, or simply being a good listener, often leads to recognition and a renewed sense of self-worth. Of course, none of this is possible without caring for your body and mind. Healthy eating, restful sleep, and regular relaxation are not luxuries. They're foundations for a strong spirit. You don't have to overhaul your entire diet overnight. Start by adding an extra serving of vegetables to your meals or swapping sugary drinks for water. Prioritize sleep by keeping a calming evening routine. Maybe that's reading a book, listening to soft music, or taking a warm bath before bed. And don't underestimate the power of rest. A short daily walk, time spent in the garden, or a few minutes of quiet meditation can refresh your mind and restore your sense of balance. Let me share a true story. There's a gentleman named Harold, who, after retiring, found himself spending most days alone, feeling invisible. One day, he decided to join a local woodworking class. At first, he doubted whether he could learn something new at his age, but he stuck with it. Not only did Harold discover a new hobby, but he also made friends who looked forward to seeing him each week. He started making small wooden toys for children at a nearby hospital, bringing smiles to their faces. Harold's days were no longer empty. Through simple steps, reaching out, trying something new, sharing his skills, he reclaimed his confidence and sense of purpose. It's stories like Harold's that prove the journey back to self-worth doesn't require giant leaps. It's a path made up of many small, steady steps. Every day offers a new chance to do one gentle thing for yourself, to reach out, to care for your body, to try something new, to offer a helping hand, or simply to remind yourself of all the miles you've traveled. If yesterday wasn't perfect, that's all right. Tomorrow is another opportunity. Perhaps the most important thing to remember is this: it's never too late to start, and every small step counts. No act of self-care, no attempt to connect, no moment of kindness, whether for yourself or someone else, is ever wasted. Your worth has never left you. It only waits for you to notice it again. So today, why not take one small action to nurture yourself? You are, after all, your own best investment, and this chapter of life can be every bit as vibrant and meaningful as the ones before. You deserve to feel proud, loved, and seen. The journey begins with one gentle, practical step, and the next, and the next. Mary never imagined she'd lose herself so quietly. At 73, She had spent decades as a dedicated elementary school teacher in upstate New York, known for her patience, humor, and gentle way of coaxing shy children out of their shells. Her retirement years ago was a celebration. Cake, cards, hugs, and a flood of promises from colleagues and parents to stay in touch. But as time ticked on, the phone calls slowed. Her children visited when they could, but their own lives had grown hectic and full. And Mary, who once juggled lesson plans and after-school programs, found her days growing emptier. At first, she tried to fill the quiet. She baked pies for her neighbors, tended her small backyard garden, and organized her old photographs. But after a while, the sense of being needed faded. No one relied on her for homework help, holiday planning, or advice. She began to wake up later and later, sometimes skipping breakfast, letting days slip by in her worn blue bathrobe. "Is this all I am now?" she wondered, staring at the sunlight filtering through her living room window. "Am I just waiting?" Her sense of worth, once tied to the joy of teaching and the love of family, began to unravel. Even her body seemed to echo this change. Her back ached more, sleep was restless, and she caught herself snapping at the television for no reason at all. When her daughter called to check in, Mary often brushed off her feelings. "I'm fine, honey. Just a little tired." But inside, she felt invisible. One spring day, while waiting for her prescription at the local pharmacy, Mary overheard a cheerful conversation at the counter. The pharmacist was explaining a flyer to another customer. The local library was starting a Reading Buddies program, pairing seniors with elementary school students who needed extra help. The woman at the counter, about Mary's age, signed up on the spot, excited to have a reason to get out of the house. That night, Mary lay in bed, her heart racing with uncertainty. She hadn't been in a classroom in years. Would kids even want her help? Would she remember how to teach? Still, something in her stirred. Maybe, she thought, it was worth a try. The next morning, she signed up. The first day was awkward. Mary worried about her outdated clothes, her memory, and her shaky hands. The children, shy at first, eyed her warily. But as the weeks passed, Mary found her footing. She remembered how to break down reading lessons into small steps, how to make learning fun with silly voices and encouragement. The children began to look forward to their sessions, and so did Mary. There were setbacks. Some days, the words blurred on the page, or the children lost focus. Mary sometimes doubted herself, haunted by a nagging voice that whispered, "You're too old for this." But a few successes, a child finishing their first book, another finally reading aloud without fear, kept her coming back. As the school year rolled on, something remarkable happened. Mary's mood lifted. She began waking early again, preparing for her sessions and laying out her clothes the night before. She started walking to the library for a little extra exercise and noticed her joints ached less. She began sleeping more soundly. On weekends, she caught herself humming as she cooked. The loneliness she'd carried for months began to fade, replaced by a sense of belonging. Mary's children noticed the change before she did. "You sound different, Mom," her son remarked one Sunday. "Happier." Her daughter asked for her favorite banana bread recipe, eager to bake with her kids on their next visit. Even Mary's neighbors noticed the cheerful greetings and laughter floating from her porch. Perhaps most importantly, Mary felt respected again, not just by the children, who called her Miss Mary with pride, but by herself. She saw that her worth had never really disappeared. It had simply been buried, waiting for her to find it again. She learned, through gentle effort and a willingness to try, that she still had much to give, and much to gain. Mary's story is not unique. All across America, there are seniors just like her, quietly struggling with the fear of being forgotten or useless, yet capable of incredible transformation. The journey isn't always easy. It takes courage to step outside, to try something new, to risk feeling awkward or vulnerable. But as Mary discovered, it's in those very moments of risk that life's richest rewards are found. The benefits ripple outward. Not only did Mary's health and mood improve, but her relationships deepened. She was invited to a neighbor's potluck, reconnected with old friends, and found herself swapping gardening tips with parents at the library. She even started a small journaling habit, writing each night about what went well and what she looked forward to tomorrow. The children she mentored gained confidence and new skills. The library staff grew to count on her wisdom and her warm, steady presence. Mary was, once again, a part of something bigger than herself. If you're watching and recognizing a bit of yourself in Mary's journey, take heart. The path to regaining your confidence and respect does not require a miracle, just a willingness to take one small step and then another. You may find that the things you thought were lost, your value, your voice, your joy, are not gone, but simply waiting for you to rediscover them. Mary reclaimed her worth, one gentle act at a time. And so can you. There are days, especially as the years stack quietly behind us, when the world can feel very big and we can feel very small. Perhaps you wake up to a quiet house, a to-do list that's shorter than it used to be, or a calendar with more empty squares than crowded ones. Maybe you glance in the mirror and see a face lined with stories, and you wonder, sometimes out loud, just in your heart, do I still matter? Does anyone see me? If you've ever felt that gentle ache, know that you are not alone. This feeling is so common, it's almost invisible. Many older Americans find themselves growing quieter, pulling back not because they have nothing left to give, but because they start to believe, bit by bit, that their presence makes little difference. It's easy to brush these feelings aside, telling yourself it's just a part of aging, or to slip into the background while others move forward. But what if that's not the whole truth? What if your worth, your importance, your right to be proud of yourself, is not just intact, but growing deeper every single day? Let's pause and flip that quiet question. Instead of asking, am I still needed? Ask yourself, what would happen if I treated myself as valuable, right now, exactly as I am? Imagine for a moment that your worth isn't tied to what you accomplish or how busy your days look, but simply to the fact that you exist, and that you bring wisdom, kindness, and memory into every room you enter. What if, instead of letting your voice get quieter, you chose to honor it? What if your very presence, the gentle laughter, the thoughtful questions, the patience learned from years of living, still lights up the lives of those around you, even if you can't always see it? If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 3 below to let me know that you are still here with me. The truth, backed by both science and human experience, is that our need for connection, meaning, and self-respect doesn't fade with time. It may become even more important as we age. Studies show that people who feel valued and maintain a sense of purpose are not only happier but also often healthier and more resilient, regardless of age. The simple act of recognizing your worth, of choosing to believe, even on the tough days, that you are important, has the power to lift your spirit, strengthen your body, and ripple out to those around you. But how do you start to reclaim that feeling, especially if it's been missing for a while? The answer isn't in making drastic changes or searching for grand adventures, unless that excites you. More often, it begins with the smallest of actions, a quiet revolution that starts inside and grows outward. Each day, try to do one gentle thing for yourself. Maybe that means spending a few minutes remembering something you're proud of, or jotting it down in a notebook. Perhaps it's choosing to reach out to someone, a friend, a neighbor, a family member, for a conversation, or even just a shared cup of coffee. You could begin by taking a walk outside and noticing how the seasons shift, or by learning a new skill, however simple it might seem. Joining a local group, signing up for a community class, or volunteering just a bit of your time can spark new connections and remind you of your abilities. If technology feels intimidating, ask someone to show you how to use video calls or social media. You might be surprised at the doors it opens. Let me share a true story from right here in America. There's a gentleman named Charles who, after losing his wife, found himself sitting alone at the kitchen table most mornings, staring at 2 empty coffee cups and feeling that slow drift toward loneliness. The silence in his house grew so heavy that he almost stopped speaking at all. One afternoon, on a whim, he signed up for a local senior painting class. He hadn't picked up a paintbrush since high school and wasn't sure what to expect. In the first few weeks, his hands shook and his colors ran together, but no one minded. Slowly, Charles discovered not only a talent for landscapes but also a group of friends who asked about his day, shared stories, and reminded him how good it felt to laugh. Those friendships pulled Charles back into life. He started cooking again, hosting small dinners, even sharing his paintings with family. That single hesitant step, walking through the door of the community center, became the beginning of a new season, one filled with color, laughter, and a fresh sense of belonging. Charles says that more than anything, he learned this: it's never too late to begin again, and you don't have to do it alone. So, if you're listening now, let that be your reminder. Your worth is never diminished by age. You are important, still, and always deserving of love and pride. Every wrinkle, every story, every kind word or thoughtful act is proof of a life well lived and still in progress. Start with something small. Maybe it's reaching out to a friend, joining an activity, writing down something you appreciate about yourself, or simply allowing yourself to enjoy the sunlight on your porch. Each step is like planting a seed. Some days, it may feel as if nothing is growing, but give it time. With every gentle act, you are nurturing a garden inside yourself, a place of confidence, hope, and quiet strength. And in moments of doubt, remember, you are not alone. Every community, every family, every circle of friends is brighter and stronger because of people like you. Others are walking the same path, facing the same questions, and discovering the same joys. Reach out, lean on those around you, and let yourself be supported. The world is full of people, neighbors, loved ones, even strangers, who care deeply about the well-being of seniors, and who want nothing more than to see you thrive. So today, take a breath and celebrate yourself. You have come so far, and you are still on the journey. The best chapters are not always the first, nor the busiest. They are often the ones where we slow down, reflect, and recognize our quiet power. You are, and always will be, a person of worth. Your story matters, and the world is better with you in it. Let today be the day you remind yourself, and maybe someone else, too, just how true that is. As we come to the end of this journey together, remember this: your worth is timeless. Age does not define you, nor does it diminish the light you carry inside. Every experience, every challenge, every joy you've lived through has shaped a unique and valuable person, someone deserving of respect, love, and pride. You are far from invisible. Your voice still matters, your presence still makes a difference, and your story is still unfolding with meaning and purpose. If there's one thing to take away from today's message, it's that reclaiming your confidence and self-worth starts with small, gentle steps. It could be reaching out to an old friend, picking up a hobby you once loved, or simply acknowledging your strengths each morning. These simple acts weave together a stronger, brighter sense of self, one that grows with every day. And if ever you feel alone in this, know that you are not. Your family, your community, and so many others stand with you. We see you, we honor you, and we want to support you on this path. It's never too late to embrace the next chapter with courage and grace. So, take a deep breath and look ahead with hope. The best days are not behind you. They are still waiting, full of new connections, new joys, and renewed confidence. Thank you for sharing your time with me today. If this message touched your heart, please share your story or one small step you plan to take in the comments below. Let's encourage and uplift each other. Remember, you are worthy, you are valued, and you are loved. Here's to the beautiful journey ahead.